Hey, everybody, welcome to Ask Dr. Testosterone, starring Dr. George Antouliados, brought to you by his book, The Bible of Bodybuilding. Everything you need to know about training, nutrition, supplementation, and PEDs. It's available on Amazon.com, where you can also get this amazing book, Real Bodybuilding by Ron Harris. What a great book. And now all the way from Athens, Greece, please welcome Dr. George Antouliados. Hey, doctor.
Aaron, how are you doing?
Seems like we just talked.
So this is 177 and we're approaching 180.
Oof, yeah. Imagine when we get to 200, you'll get a free mug.
200 is going to be my next Arnold, and Steve wished me, I wish another 200, George.
Hey, you know what? You know what we might do? I just got a crazy idea, Doc. What about a live show?
Yeah, why not?
Yeah. Jen, what do you think?
I mean, live show means as we speak.
Yeah. Imagine that. Like people could ask you questions live. They could say, Ron, you suck. Dr. George, we love you. Or you suck. And we'd be like, yeah, it's the stuff you get on the live. You get them both. You get people saying you're the best thing ever, and you get people saying you suck. It's crazy, but it's all real.
Why not?
All right. Well, for episode 200, for sure. We got to do something special. Okay. Let's get into some questions, doctor. Two-part question. Number one, can 50 milligrams of Anadrol on Tuesdays and Fridays only on primary squat and primary deadlift days be run long-term, longer than 12 weeks? Is this enough time in between doses to keep the toxicity down? For context, 50 milligrams 2 times per week is on top of a base of 350 test E and 150 Deca for powerlifting prep. So,
well, it sounds as a powerful stack, but the pills in the long run will cause some damage because you stack also the Deca, mainly, to the lipids and also to the liver. Yeah, it's a good idea, of course.
I mean, twice a week. Twice a week is better than every day, but I mean, is it still going to do some damage, you think?
Really, but why not try Dianabol instead, which is less, theoretically, Anadrol does not aromatize because it's the derivative, but because you stack it with testosterone and non-hdl, the metabolites have higher affinity and favor estrogenic effect. But it's less impact. We said that before, taking Dianabol 20 or 30 milligrams instead of 50.
Right.
That have a greater impact on the liver,
Yeah.
Besides, I believe that Dianabol is more androgenic than Anadrol, so the more androgenic, the more strength we have.
Yeah. They used to have T-shirts that said Dianabol Breakfast of Champions.
Yeah. I mean, somebody told me that there was a jar with Dianabol and the Oak was doing this.
That's Arnold, the Oak. Yeah. I mean, that because back then there weren't a lot of different drugs being used. There was only a few drugs, and D-ball was
also Turinabol, which is the clear form of Dianabol, less estrogenic, was the notorious drug in the DDR, the East Germany.
They invented it.
It was pharmaceutical grade in the 70s. Yes.
Yeah, I've heard it called the dry Dianabol because you don't
exactly.
You don't get the water retention, the puffy moon face. Okay, so that was question one. Oh no, there was one part more to that. Part two was: is there any evidence of Anadrol causing liver cancer?
Yes, I mean, theoretically, in the long run, we have 4 stages of liver damage. So first of all, we have the pharmaceutical hepatitis known as transaminemia, the elevation of ALT, AST, SGOT, SGPT. Then we have the cholestasis or jaundice that is accompanied by yellowish of the eyeballs, the sclera, and the skin, and itching as well. This is when bile cannot be eliminated, through the bile ducts, and then it's accumulated and leads to this. The third is when you have architectural damage in the structure of the liver, known as Palliaceus hepatis, are discovered with bloody cysts, and Andreas Munter had this when they open up. Yeah. And finally, the non-reversible part that there's no other cure besides the liver transplant is a hepatocellular carcinoma or hepatoma. That is, of course, very malignant liver cancer.
Yeah, wow. Scary stuff.
It's among the hardest transplantation after the heart transplant in the lungs. The liver comes next. Really complex, over here because it has the portal vein, the hepatic arteries. It's really major organ. Actually, it's the largest gland.
Wow. Yeah. Let's knock on wood. We even though neither one of us.
But it's reversible until stage 3. Things are reversible.
Yeah. I've always heard that the liver is a very regenerative organ. You can.
Yes, exactly. Great capacity to recover and regenerate.
Yeah, because a lot of people do a lot of damage to their liver from heavy alcohol abuse. And then if they stop drinking, if they quit and go sober, eventually their liver gets healthy again.
Yes.
Yeah. This is like oral steroid week, I guess, because the next question is, when we use oral steroids, there's a decrease in HDL. If we use cholesterol medication reducing LDL, the cardiac risk decreases, correct? Even with lower HDL. Example, when I use 40 milligrams of oxandrolone, my HDL is in the range of 25. But if I take cholesterol medication, my LDL drops to 80, leaving the non-DL fraction below 100.
Yeah, I've said that before, that unfortunately, the statins do not affect the HDL, but only LDL and the total cholesterol. But the atherosclerotic index comes out of dividing the total cholesterol with the HDL. And Connors also verifies this recently by saying, guys, don't be fooled. Even though if you have a crashed LDL or total cholesterol, if your HDL is fucked up, you're screwed. So you need the good cholesterol to clean the arteries. Even though in modern cardiology, the cardiologists say you need to have 99 and below LDL instead of 50 plus HDL.
Yeah.
But you cannot counterbalance. You need all the lipids to be good, And usually the HDL also interacts with the triglycerides.
Okay.
But also taking while on steroids, statins, high dose of statin, you mess up your liver more.
Well, I'm only on 10
high
milligrams.
dose, not just to 10 milligrams of Lipitor. Besides, you're not taking pills,
I've been taking lately, just for the past month, I do a Winstrol before my workout, a 25 milligram Winstrol.
Be careful. Why don't you try oxandrolone instead?
Oh, I have that too. I alternate like week to week. I have people get mad because my cycles aren't perfectly designed, but I just, I'm not training for the Olympia or anything crazy. Next one is, for a 40 or 50-year-old natural bodybuilder, what would be a safe frequency and total milligram week stack to not shut down HPTA? My guess is maximum 2 cycles of 6 weeks a year, and for 1,000 milligrams a week maximum. The question is only for stacks with safe compounds.
1 gram per week, and you're not, you don't have the expectancy to shut it down. Come on, man. This is classic. Everything will shut down, even Anadrol, just the HT itself will shut off, will suppress.
Yeah.
Now, if you don't want to complete suppression, don't use testosterone, but the DHT derivatives, Primo, Winstrol, Anadrol, Proviron, and Masteron. That's all. And of course, those depend on duration, of course.
Yeah. So if he's going to do, he's theoretically thinking 2 6-week cycles a year. So maybe.
But you cannot avoid PCT, anyway.
Yeah.
And besides, in your 50s, you're already declining 10% from your 40s.
Yeah, I don't understand. I don't understand the logic behind it. Maybe he can clarify. But 2 6-week cycles a year, because when I was natural for years ago, I thought eventually I was like, I'll do 1 cycle, 6 weeks, and I'll get so big and I'll keep all that muscle. But once you do 1 cycle, you don't want to stop because you want to.
Listen, Ron, until you hit the cycle, you should take the most out of your natty, potency. How to say?
Potential.
Potential, yes.
Well, I mean, if he's 40 or 50, I imagine he's been training for many years. He's probably maxed out naturally. But I mean, why would you not just go on TRT?
And consider that in your 50s, your joints are screwed up. They're rusty. True. You cannot lift. Doesn't matter the steroids. You're gonna cut off your joints and your ligaments. If you use a lot of gear.
Yeah. Well, something to think about, sir. Last one. Great question here. Great question. Especially in 2022. This is a perfect question. Can you ever be sure of the quality of the PEDs that you're forced to buy underground? For example, Winstrol, Anadrol, Primo. Is there a way to distinguish between the good and the bad stuff?
Yeah, we said that before. And also in 2016, Bill Welling asked me to write an article about this in Anabolic.org. that is included also in Muscular Development, both magazine and online. And first of all, we know the his brand, the
Roy test. Yep.
But in my article, what I wrote is that supposedly you're using a dry compound that does not aromatize, like the DHT derivatives, Winstrol, Primo, and Anavar.
Yeah.
You should check if you use a monotherapy of them, or yes, join all of them, but nothing else. You should check out E2 before and after. Another thing is that somebody wants to use, for instance, Ecupose. But if prolactin elevates, allegedly it could be also Deca. You know, sometime. Now, if somebody uses just Anavar and E2 elevates, could be Dianabol. Most likely because it's really expensive, the Anavar, and it's really cheap, the Dianabol.
Well, the kit will tell you what the steroid is, but it doesn't tell you the potency.
Yeah, but you remember when we hosted Bill, he said that he has also semi-qualitative. That means partially can tell the potency, you know?
Okay.
Yes. Of course, the most important is to use the compound, you know, the suspected compound. But now, if it's underdose, it's not a big deal, you know, that much. You know, at least you're using the right compound, because I remember there was a woman, you know, there was a lady completing the physique, and the coach gave her Anavar, and after a couple of weeks, please stop it, it's Dianabol. And imagine what the average girls are using, you know, who knows?
Yeah, I mean, what about checking your like total and free testosterone? Just because.
Now, that's a good question, because the DHT derivatives suppress the HHBG and elevate the free testosterone, and they are good libido enhancer. And by the way, there is a legal window that you can use Winstrol and Anavar as a libido enhancers. Yes.
Oh, wow.
There is a doctor that we hosted who prescribes in California oxandrolone for the sake of highest HBG, because you don't have that you don't have provider in the States. You can substitute provider with another DHT derivative, which is oxandrolone, that for a brief period of time, it can suppress the HBG and you can have more sex drive.
Oh, wow.
But of course, it's just 10 milligrams per day.
You're not going to get huge on 10 milligrams of Anavar a day, guys. No. Cool. Well, that wraps up another edition of Ask Dr. Testosterone. Doctor, thank you so much for taking the time, sharing your expertise, your knowledge and wisdom with all these people. One of the only medical doctors in the world who has walked the walk and talked the talk. Dr. George here. If you have questions for the next episode, please leave them in the comments below. Comment, share, subscribe to the channel, put the notification bell, do all that good stuff, would you? And we'll see you right here next week on Ask Dr. Testosterone.